Guys, welcome back. It's the Matt Chat Podcast with myself, Paul Ciatto, Christopher Shay, Peter Oberk, and our very, very good friend and special guest, Adam Watstein. Clap it up.
All right, Adam, baby.
Guys, Adam brings a very, 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 very unique part to the podcast, okay? Usually he is someone that is behind the cameras in these type of situations.
Today you're in front of the camera.
Today he is in front of the cameras.
With guns.
Exactly.
You brought the guns
today.
Trained. They're a little...
The pipes out, baby. Adam is
next champ right here.
That's right. Yeah, she is the next champ, I agree. Adam is, he works for a very small network. You may not know it at all. It's a...
the small one.
AMC. He is an editor for AMC and working on various things that he will describe much better than I can. He's worked on a very small, unpopular show called The Walking Dead.
That unpopular one, right?
Unpopular one, you know.
Most people haven't seen that one.
So, you know, we brought Adam on to give us his unique perspective on what it is to be in quote-unquote Hollywood and to work in that atmosphere and tell us all about it. And we're going to interject our own little tidbits on it. Take it away, Adam.
Well, it's not Hollywood. It's New York City.
I'm going to say
that's better than Hollywood. Let's be honest.
It's a subsidiary of it. So right. If I'm watching one of your shows on TV, it's fucking Hollywood.
I agree with that.
That's
right.
It. So
well, I don't work for The Walking. I don't do work for The Walking Dead. I do work for AMC Networks. So AMC Networks has shows like The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, Better Call Saul, Preacher, all those great shows.
Yeah. Right.
I work for AMC to create advertising promos that they can advertise for those shows. So I get the segments when the episodes when they've all been edited, when they first come in, and I get interviews with the directors, and the producers, and the actors and the writers, and I construct like a behind the scenes of a certain episode or like a making of some crazy special effects that they did on The Walking Dead, and I listen to the interviews, I construct a story, I take footage from the behind the scenes stuff and episode footage, and I make it into like a 3 to 5 minute piece for the different shows. And it's cool.
And then that's aired then?
And it's aired.
So then you work for Hollywood. How's that for you? Well, he works for Hollywood.
Hollywood worker.
Yeah. Well, I lived in Hollywood. I tried.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
not Hollywood, Florida?
No. Okay. No. Well, after 9/11, about a year after, my wife and I moved out there where my son was born. And I thought I'd give it a try out there because I went to film school. I made a couple of really small films and stuff like that.
Great. Oh, very
cool. But I thought it was time to go out there, and a little bungalow opened up in Hollywood, and we spent 5 years out there. And you know, it was okay. It was interesting. I don't want to say I hated it, but it didn't feel comfortable out there. It didn't feel like I'm a New York independently minded guy, and I just didn't know how to like schmooze and kind of work your way through that. You know,
there's a lot of that. It's Hollywood, so there's a lot of that
wasteland.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. What put you in the direction of how did you get on this career path? Were you always interested in film? Was it that because you said you made some small films at first?
Yeah,
any of those cool films or no? That's just for the
special films.
Dirt Diggler films.
Or no? Because I could use your skills. Maybe you do some editing. I want to look a little bigger in a couple shots. Maybe you can edit something if I can get my wife on board. I don't know if she's gonna.
They've all had kissing in it.
Sorry.
I told you about that shit. I'm telling you right now. You got punched last time. You're gonna get punched and kicked. I'm telling you right now. So don't even bring it up again.
I did get punched on the last podcast.
Okay? I don't like it.
Yes, I did.
One bit.
You mean your wife called Paul during the podcast? And
No, he just hit me anyway.
Totally different subject matter. Just again, I was we were coming to a great moment, and instead of adding to it, he just totally derails it with his tomfoolery. Okay. So and that's like you haven't seen him do it 1,000 times before.
So all right, so finish your thought, and I won't add anything right now, but I may do a little bit later.
All right. Well, I went to film school. You know, I went to Tisch school. I went to Tisch at NYU.
Okay.
It's a really great film school. It was before they turned over to digital. You know, we actually shot on film and edited on film. And, you know, it was great. You know, it got me ready to kind of like move in that direction for a career. And that was what I think was really good about that school.
Sure.
You know, some schools have like a film program or a film class, which is great, but it's a school about pretty much other things, whereas like NYU and that school, it was all that, you know what I mean? So your identification is that of like as a young filmmaker, and it's good. That's like
very
that,
cool.
You know? And then I just kind of moved along and struggled a little bit, waited tables for 10 years in Manhattan, and then finally one day someone came up to me with some story about a friend that died. They were rappers, and we talked about it, and I made a little movie about their lives, and we sold it, and it was a really small thing.
Can we see this?
Yeah. It's called Off the Hook.
So if I just Google Off the Hook, it'll come up.
Yeah, you'll see.
Because I will be Googling that today.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, and it's good. It's a good movie. I'm proud of it.
Okay, awesome.
And I made a couple of others after that. They got like worse and worse. No, they didn't get worse and worse. They just got more difficult and difficult. And I made lots of compromises and things like that. And then I got into teaching for 9 years, and I taught all aspects of filmmaking.
Where?
When we moved to LA,
Yeah.
living in Hollywood there, I needed to get a job, and I used to substitute teach as well as wait tables in New York, and there was a school right down the block from where I used to live,
It's a home run.
and they brought me in, and it turns out they needed a media teacher, so I walked out of it with a full-time job. I thought I was going to substitute teach, but it ended up being like one of the greatest experiences of my life, teaching kids how to write movies and direct them and edit and camera, and that's exactly it. Right. And I'll say it every day, if you can teach something, you know it. Yeah, you have to know it. And to teach it day in and day out, the fundamentals get so sound that I was never an editor. I could edit,
right?
But teaching it, and helping these kids make their films and refining
them. That kind
of
hones you into what you're doing right now.
Exactly. And then I walked into AMC Networks, and they're like, "Holy cow! I had no idea you can edit like this." Because I knew the person that brought me in. And he was like, I had no idea. I mean, I knew, like you knew, and I was like, because I taught. Yeah. Teaching it was amazing.
At what level? What to do. What was it, high school?
High school. And then we moved back, and I kept teaching here at a school called Fieldston in Riverdale, New York. And we were living up over there when we moved back after my son was born. Yeah.
And now, not only are you an awesome editor and film, but you also BJJ. Just tell us a little bit about, is that where you started, was California?
Yeah.
I thought so, yeah. I thought you started.
So in LA, we had a friend. My wife and I had a mutual friend who was doing that. And this was in 2001. It was pretty early.
Heck yeah.
And we went to one of his competitions, and he wasn't competing.
Were you videoing it or something?
No, I was just going in to check it out, seeing what he was doing. He's like, oh, you got to come and meet Marcus Vinicius. He was our teacher.
Oh wow.
And we went. And I was like, oh, it reminds me of me and my brothers fighting in the living room and stuff. Right. And I was like, yeah, I'll come down and train. And I just started training.
Just off of a whim, I'll come down and train. That's awesome.
Well, I was with my friend, he was doing it. I was like, yeah, I'll do it too. I needed looking for something new to do and everything like that.
Now, here's the real question. Is he still doing it today?
Bill, my friend. Yeah. I haven't spoken to him in a while, but I think he is. He was always doing it. Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
He's not doing it full time, maybe, but I think he still trains.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then obviously you left California, you came here, you found another school?
Yeah.
To train, or?
Oh, no. No, so it was like almost 5 years out there, and then when we moved back and we had a kid, I just, with the kid and everything, couldn't do it, and took 8 years off.
Okay.
And then when we had 2 kids, when both my kids were old enough to start to train, my wife was a blue belt too. She started training after I started. So we have a great story. We were driving home after Jiu Jitsu one day, and I'm driving, she's in the passenger seat, and she looks at herself in the mirror, and she's like, oh my God, Adam, look, I have a black eye. And I'm like, I can't turn my neck.
The gentle art. The gentle art.
Driving home, both beat up. But when they were old enough to do it, I brought them, and it was in Westchester, a Gracie school, and they wanted to do it, and they did it. And then I was talking to the guys there, and they're like, "Oh, you used to train?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I haven't trained in 8 years. I don't even know how to do it." And then one day I got on the ground and met with one of the guys, and I felt like, well, I still can kind of
you still got
a few
some
things.
And
then I started dreaming and thinking about some of the moves I used to do, and it led me here.
Came me back.
Wow.
What rank were you when you left California?
I was a purple belt, a very late purple belt. Yeah.
Where did you become a brown belt?
I became a brown belt here in New York, where Mark Campanet's, Marcus's black belt, awarded me my brown belt. I was teaching at Fieldston here in New York, and I was on that path, and
that's awesome.
And he gave it to me one day. I would love to have gotten it from Marcus, but I had left, and Mark Campanet's and I, being so close and friends, and he came out to visit, he awarded me with it.
That's
That's
fantastic.
It was amazing. Yeah,
That's
it was
great.
amazing.
And then you're here at Soul Fighters. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So have you, to circle back to the AMC a bit, have you met any like people we would know, like any celebrities, any type of, have you worked with people that are?
Or you're just so removed behind the scenes that.
Yeah. No. I mean, this is my day. I get there. I take the train and.
So you have to go there because it seems like it's computer stuff.
It is. These are their big shows.
So
that
they
are
can't send
very-
anything to email because God forbid
Right.
somebody catches it.
Right. There are
So-
some shows that are out of house,
I understand.
but and so
But the big ones you need to.
you have to be there. This stuff is like really.
What type of security stuff do you go through? Or nothing?
Well, just you.
You
When
got like a retinal scan, so you can. I'm just kidding.
when you first get.
That's right.
I thought that was a good question.
It wasn't. It absolutely wasn't. He's telling a fucking story.
And I asked about a retinal
about
scan?
a retinal scan. He's actually, I'm engaged. I'm listening to him because
He's doing the right thing.
Care.
I'm just talking about boring shit. And he's
But
just making it fun.
listen, I get it. But at the end of the day, like, every show can't be, balls to the wall. This is an information piece.
Fine.
Okay? And again, Peter had to give you the strike. It wasn't even me.
So then, what happened next?
Shay, where'd you get this
It's
shirt?
just.
You don't even want to know.
It's like
you don't even want to know. It's not mine.
NPR.
That's all I'm
You
gonna
walked in
say.
here with that shirt.
It is
All right,
not
so
mine.
It's like NPR.
I think
Yes.
I think to the greater question, okay, I kind of think I know where he's going with this, but instead of him interjecting with the tomfoolery, so I'm assuming you must have to sign your life away.
Yes.
And that if you leak any of this stuff, they're going to
You're in
sue
trouble.
your ass off.
Maybe I signed stuff. I don't even know what I signed.
You don't even read
You
it.
signed so many times. It's almost
I
like
have
when
no
you sign for
idea.
your house. It's like, just show me where the X's
I just
are.
needed to work. I'm like, what is this stuff?
But on a serious note, I'm assuming you'd be in a lot of trouble
Oh, yeah.
if you divulge
Yeah.
certain things like that.
Yeah,
Legally,
it would.
you know.
And
Right?
I get the episodes when they're not even done.
Done, right.
They're not even close to being aired. I mean, I know information that is really
Crucial.
vital.
Yeah, of course.
And working, being someone of character and being someone who needs to work
Sure.
and having a great opportunity to work there and do this
Right.
type of work. My brother says, "Come on, just tell me something. Just tell me something." I'm like, "I'm not telling you
Nothing.
anything.
Hell
It's not,
no.
it's not worth
It's
it.
not
There's
worth
no way in how
It's a lose-lose if I tell you anything.
There's just no way.
That's right.
And I think that's kind of being an adult. I think if I were
It's
younger,
kind of being an adult.
I might be stupid enough to say something.
And then you know what's going to happen.
He's right. He's right. I mean, there's something to be said about that, right? We talk about that a lot on the podcast about
You're a big boy.
becoming mature with certain things, and and having the fortitude, okay, to say no. You know what I mean with that situation. But I assume that that particular show being such a big hit. Man, that is really
That's big
valuable
doing,
information.
man. That's
It really
It's
is.
valuable information because someone that would want, there's a lot of ways to
utilize
that
Yeah.
in a very
A monetary fashion.
monetary unethical way.
That's
I'm
right.
Sure, you know what
That's
I mean.
right.
So,
Yeah. And it's just too important to, the job is where it's at. I got a family. I got.
Well, there it is.
And that's and
You have
to your question,
responsibilities.
there is none. When I go to work, I walk up. I don't take the escalator. I walk 2 steps at a time because I'm not training. I'm just trying to anywhere I can get it. And then it's sad.
I'm not training.
It's so sad.
You see a guy, he's hopping 3 steps.
They're out there looking at me like, it's all my exercise I'm going to get today. You have no idea.
I got to do something.
You have
please.
no idea what I'm
I gotta
getting
do
back
something.
to. You have no idea what I'm going back to in 2 weeks.
Great. You have no clue.
I'm going back.
None of this is preparing me. For
I'm
that,
going
you know
back
what
to the gentle art.
Exactly.
Even though it's not helping, I'm going to do it.
Right.
So what was your day like? You started and you
I get there. I go
into
into my room. I grab my ball jar,
So you
fill it up
take
with water,
a
and
train,
I
take a
spend
train
the
in
whole
from
day.
Westchester, or you driving?
I training. Yeah, always training. Take the train in, then I walk over. I used to take the subway, but now I'm like, well, that's round trip. $6 times 5 is 30 times 4 is
Heck
120.
yeah.
My wife's like, we need to do you need your Spotify subscription? You need this? I'm like, you know what? I'll just fucking walk to work,
Yeah,
and I'm keeping all my shit. I'll save my money.
I get it.
But I just spend all day in my room. I don't.
That's
Sometimes I'll go a whole day. I won't see a single person.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
How long is
I'm
that
in a
day?
dark room by myself. That's a full day. 10 to 6. Get
Now,
there
when you
at
say a dark room, you just.
it's dark. You need to see the screen. You want to be able to see
So
everything.
all you're seeing is the screen that's
Screen, I got a-
so
I got a
the
little
lights
lamp.
are actually dim.
Off.
off.
I have a lamp.
Picture watching TV in the dark, son.
Wow.
That's what he's doing.
It's not
He's
good for your eyes.
No, my vitamin D was low last time I went to the doctor.
I bet it's
I take vitamin D.
That's crazy. He's a day walker.
Totally.
Yeah, he's the day walker. He is the day walker.
But it's great work. It's fun. It's fun. I like what I do. I no complaints.
And working for AMC obviously is.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
They're good to their employees.
Yeah.
How-
No complaints.
How do you find practicing the gentle art of jiu-jitsu? How does that help you in your job there and the editing and all that? Does it help you in any way, or yes or no, or what?
Well, jiu-jitsu changed my life completely.
What do you mean?
It messed it up?
My elbows got arthritis and my shoulders dislocated. Yeah, me too.
I don't have a bicep tendon. I don't have a,
Did that happen in jits?
yeah.
We could have used your last episode.
Well, I sent the first shoulder to get a PRP too.
Yeah, I was feeling great.
Awesome.
Feeling great.
Excellent.
PRP, if you don't know about PRP,
So, yeah.
We're going to talk about that in an episode.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I'm going again Thursday, actually.
nice.
your other show.
I'm going to see him on
Thursday and the good shoulder.
You're going to get the good shoulder
The good
done.
shoulder's getting done.
Nice.
Yeah, the good shoulder. So,
Which you don't want to know the MRI report to the good shoulder because it's not a good shoulder. So how has it changed your life?
I recognized how much it changed my life like my first 3 or 4 years. Now I just know how it's changed it, but I can really tell the difference. Well, first of all, just like my mettle, like just my fortitude, like, you know, it's just to like take a shot and just feel alive, like know that you can kind of get through like some kind of physical hit.
Your toughness.
You know, yeah, and it's just, and you
Thicker
can,
skin.
thicker skin, and you just survive that stuff.
Bingo.
You know, you have adrenaline, you have.
Thanksgiving, thicker skin episode. Check it out on Matt Chat.
F Christmas.
exactly.
But yeah, I mean that whole thing, and then just like really like understanding respect between fighters. You know, I mean the thing I love most is when he's like watching like UFC and stuff, and these guys like have a war, and then afterwards they like appreciate each other because of what they both know they went through to get there.
The humility.
You know,
amongst fighters,
it's
yeah.
just an amazing, humbling experience. Like the whole thing. And it's like you'll never meet an asshole who's an upper belt because you can't get there if you are. You can't survive, right? The game if you're a jerk because you get beat up too much, and you can't be a jerk if you're getting beat up all right. You know what I mean? Like it's an amazing.
Like we called it before.
It's so funny how you're saying everything we just talked about.
The movie Highlander.
Oh, there can only be one.
Exactly. There was the quickening.
Yeah.
In jiu-jitsu, it's the humbling.
Right.
Okay, it's, you know, and in Highlander, you know, he had to kill, or there only could be one, like you said, and he killed everyone until there was one.
Yeah.
In jiu-jitsu, the humbling is an everyday process.
Every day.
So, you know,
and it's amazing, and it's a great feeling to go to you know to do that and to recognize how it's making you feel. And I was always like that. All of us were, because you can't. I don't think you can succeed in this sport if you don't have that to begin with, because you can't.
If your
get beat
ego's
up
too
every
big, you're
day.
gone.
You can't. You'll never make it to blue belt.
No
You
way.
Never,
So like what I'm hearing now is you're relating this to, because obviously you're a detail guy, you have to be for your profession. There's no way you cannot. So learning those intricacies of of jiu-jitsu and the details as they continue to lay in front of you has helped you with your professional life.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? When you're looking at editing and films and whatnot and saying, okay, how do I piece this all together? You know, jiu-jitsu is a big a big chess game, as we know, and there's a million pieces to it, and and I can only imagine. I mean, I see what you guys do, and I see what Peter does, and he's in a different.
I mean, I do some
arena.
things too. I don't want to take a lot of credit, but I do some things.
Peter, what strike is that?
Strike 5.
but he's fouling them off.
But I'm glad you're here today to see what we fucking deal with every time. Like I'm being.
It's like a commercial break.
It is. It's like it doesn't stop. It does not
It's
stop.
a commercial break.
It's like
Thank you.
Yeah, commercial break with no commercial breaks. It's just unbelievable. I really can't.
And now back to the show.
But it is like respecting the fundamentals in jiu-jitsu and knowing that in order it has to be done correctly. If you don't get the fundamentals down, you're not going to be able to succeed. And appreciating and understanding that on that level leads, it just everything else you do in your
Falls
life,
apart.
you respect that
Absolutely, yeah.
process, and it's just
And it puts things in perspective too. You think you're having a shitty day, and guess what? You go to jits and and it's like, I could be having a horrible day. Or I can be thinking, I don't really want to go to Jits or whatever, and then I show up there, and obviously I'm not being successful, but just being there, I'm like, oh man, I feel better.
All right.
I needed that.
Absolutely. It's
now I can go back to work, and I can do what I got to do,
Right.
and I can, and everything else is just a little bit easier.
That's right. That's right. And I used to, when I trained in LA, I used to drive a half hour to get there. I lived in Los Feliz, and I had to go all the way to Beverly Hills.
Los Feliz? What do you mean?
There he goes again.
That was a mess.
I would love to live.
To Hollywood.
I live in Los Feliz every night.
That's good.
Or Las Feliz. Go to the shoulder.
Just don't, seriously. You're only going to get one.
No. Thank God this isn't my shirt.
I fucking had it. And it's like it doesn't.
Now I might have to watch it before I get back.
Unbelievable. I can't. I just can't. I cannot. And I'm just glad Adam is here to see this. Not that you haven't seen it live. Now you get to see when we're trying to do our freaking show.
All right, fine. Talk about me feelers and let's go from there. You're traveling from me feelers to where?
The sneakers, the me feelers. I know exactly what you want.
Every day I drove to
Half
jiu-jitsu,
hour.
I used to dread it. I hated it. I asked myself, why do I do this?
Why am I doing this?
Why do I do this? What am I put myself through right now?
Yeah.
I'm going to be on the mat, getting beat up.
Yes.
Why do I do this? How do I can't believe, and I get there, and as soon as I put my gi on, I go out, I remember I get out there on the mat and feel a little nervous still, and then when it was over, I feel like I do now because I just trained. I just feel amazing.
Yeah.
It's just the most liberating, releasing, it's just, I don't even know where I am. I feel so good.
And it allows you to perform your job better.
Absolutely. And be a person better. Everything. It's
Mental clarity, man.
Absolutely.
It does it. There's many a times when I'm going off one of my tangents, I wish I was there, just to take me out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I get it. You mean it's one of those things. So, but what's
Guys,
happening?
how do you find jiu-jitsu in LA versus here? Can you elaborate?
East Coast,
on
West
that?
Coast.
And don't be shy. And politically correct.
Yeah.
No,
Just
yeah,
tell
I
us
will.
the truth. We want to
Truth.
know.
I don't. Our training was really strong at Beverly Hills Jiu Jitsu. We had a lot of guys competing. It was a really competitive gym.
That's great.
And Pan Ams were always out there.
Yeah.
And we would go. A lot of guys from the gym went. A lot of success.
But when you think of Beverly Hills, you think of...
Well, right. That was always one of those things.
Is that a misnomer?
It almost is. Yeah. And you wouldn't think that the lightness that Beverly Hills insinuates would bring out a real gritty gym, but it was a very gritty gym. Marcus Vinicius trained with some of the best guys in the history of MMA. He coached Bas Rutten, very close with Fabricio Verdun. Old. He's old school.
You guys
guy.
were both UFC heavyweight champs. Both those guys were.
Yeah, Marcus he's a legend. Marcus is the real thing, old school, and he was a great teacher, really strict on fundamentals, very patient, really loving family. His son now runs his gym. He's now he's in Russia, building building jiu-jitsu in Russia, and he travels the world doing that. And but I don't remember really. I used to. You know what's funny? I was just saying it in the locker room. In LA, he used to tell us who we were rolling against.
Right.
Adam, Chris, Paul.
Yeah, that's how it started with me. We got paired up.
Yeah, you paired up. You never chose who you were.
It's funny what Adam's talking about because it lends to what we talked about to the Gordon Ryan podcast.
Yeah.
Where it was, even in Beverly Hills, USA, there's
badassery.
There's badassery going on. Yeah. Even in that, where you would, that should, and that goes back to the fundamentals of what we said.
Because it's the sport. It's BJJ.
Yeah, there's no other way to do it.
No, there's no other way.
There's no other way to do it. Exactly.
There's no other way to do it. Exactly.
That's it.
Well said.
And it's funny because Guy Ritchie, because you're in Beverly Hills, you get he used to train Vin Diesel at his house and things like that. And Guy Ritchie is great because he used to come to the gym. Marcus did privates with Guy at his house.
Right. Wow.
But Guy used to come to the gym and train. And he and I were pals, and he used to come and he used to be like, man, this fucking gym is so tough. These guys are so tough. And he used to come. He used to train with Henzo in New York, and then when he came to Beverly Hills, he trained with us.
Right.
And he would always remark about how tough the gym was. It was 8 years from the time I was there, and then I started training again. So I don't know. I was old school all the way. When I first started again, my clock chokes and shit like that.
Clock daddy.
They work.
I clock daddy. And I still do it. They do work. Anything works, right? But right
Basics
opportunity.
always work.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
But the game evolved big time, and I felt like I was like there were no footlocks. No one did leg locks. No one did footlocks. No one. One guy at our gym.
Suburban techniques, as they were called. You know.
Yeah, they weren't allowed. I don't even think they were like legal.
They were frowned upon.
Yeah. And then like I started again. People like doing footlocks all over the place. I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like I'm a white belt footlock. You know, I have no idea. Like
yeah, no, it's an evolution that happens day in and day out. But I think that it's funny every time we have guests on that have any association to the art. How is intertwined their lives become so intertwined because of it, and how it helps you in every way, shape, or form.
Theme.
It's a consistent theme. It really
definitely.
is. No matter who it is, it doesn't make a difference what you're doing professionally. It seems anyone that's involved with it, it enhances them as a person, as a professional, what they're doing, and so on and so forth.
when people say, like, oh, what do you do? Like the first thing I comes to my mind is like I train in jiu-jitsu. That's who I am. Like it becomes like who you are.
Right.
How's
Like,
your family? Your brothers, like extended family. How do they relate to that? How do you tell them that?
They love it. I mean, they love that I do it, and they wish they were doing it themselves. You know, they would ask me about it, and they like telling their friends about it. You know, like to brag how their brother. You know, because it's something that's really exciting, and interesting,
and it's legitimate.
It's
legitimate.
Yeah. One of my brothers tried it one day, but he went there, and he went to a gym near his house in Long Island, and he went with a friend, and they just like beat each other for an hour or something, and I was like, and he didn't really care about going back, and I was like, you didn't.
Yeah, you didn't have the best experience.
Yeah, and you know, but I was just at the doctor this morning, guy looking at my shoulder, he said, I told him, you know, about the jiu-jitsu, and he's like, oh, and I'm like, he's 78. Right. And I'm like, you can get into it. He's like, I did a lot of sports and stuff, but I'm 78. You know, it's like, I'm like, no, you can do it. It's like, it's life affirming. I mean, you know, start at 78.
Did he get it?
How could you not? You know?
It's another venture in your life. You know what that means.
Yeah, he's thinking about it.
Really?
I know he's thinking about it.
Well, that's great.
Know, because he knows that it's another exciting chapter.
Yeah, another exciting chapter and challenge in a person's life.
Especially if you've accomplished a bunch of stuff, it's cool to try and accomplish this because this is grueling. It's one of my big goals that I have in life is to get to my black belt.
Right.
The other is to have kids.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Without me punching him in his grill one more time, we're going to end it there. Okay? Adam, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have you back soon. Your story is very inspirational and amazing, and we're happy to have you here as not just a friend, but a student, and all the things that come with that.
Thank you.
Guys, Paul Ciatto, Christopher Shay, Peter Oberg, Adam Watstein, we'll catch you next time.